Pinheads Entertainment Center has it all. A modern-style bowling alley with 2 private bowling suites. Alley's Ale House serves up a chef-crafted menu daily, featuring signature handcrafted cocktails and over 30 draft options. The arcade at Pinheads offers 90-plus games, including old-school games, Golden Tee, and virtual reality with top-tier prizes. Host large events or meetings in the multifunction banquet room that can accommodate up to 80 guests. Visit, call, or reserve online today. Off State Road 37 next to Honda of Fishers.
Keep your vehicle running like new. Stop by A1 Automotive to get an honest rundown of what your vehicle needs or doesn't need. It's all part of their no pressure, no upsell environment. Find them online at a1cardoctors.com or stop in today right off Coliseum across from Tractor Supply. A1 Automotive.
If you're ready to take your game to the next level, trust the guys with over 20 PBA Tour titles and RT Tour experience to improve your game. Ball layouts for the best feel and to maximize your game. The top names in bowling: Motive, Brunswick, Hammer, Radical, Storm, Roto Grip, and more in stock. Get tips and lessons from PBA stars Mike Devaney and Ronnie Russell. When you're ready to invest in your bowling game, go to RT Tour Experience with 2 locations, inside Pinheads and Fishers and All-Star Bowl in Indianapolis.
When you bowl a ton of games on tour like I do, it's all about comfort and feel. That's why I choose Big 4 socks.
Find Big 4 socks at a pro shop near you or online at big4socks.com. Test.
Test, hello.
Test. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Indiana Masters here from Championship Lanes, Anderson, Indiana, and Scott Gilmore, PBA Hall of Famer Mike Aulby. And, well, we find ourselves finally live streaming here from Championship Lanes after a really, I would say, dramatic and stressful Friday and Saturday. We had some issues with our TriCaster that we just bought 5 months ago, and, technology does fail. It always does it in the most inopportune times. But we want to give a shout out to our friends at Digital Arts in Bloomington. They're official new tech dealer, and they said, hey, come down and grab ours that you can use. And here we are, finding ourselves back after the third time trying to set up and tear down. But it's great to have you on board. And we're semifinal round, Mike, here of the Indiana Masters, 17 seed through 48 here, bowling 2 games to find themselves in that bottom half of the top 32 bracket.
About 10 minutes of practice to try to figure them out, and off they go. And but I think yesterday you're in Chad's finest hour, actually. I mean, to be able to come through all that, challenges and that, and thank you so much for doing that and going out of your way to make it work. And you guys, yeoman's job just to get us here to today. So excited to be here, and now relax, and you can have some fun and enjoy yourself because you guys did all the hard labor.
Yeah, we found ourselves in Bloomington, Indiana
on a game day.
On a game day,
yeah.
And I had Purdue sweatshirt on. Luckily, we were nowhere near the campus.
Well,
yeah,
you got out of town. Yeah.
we made it back safely. But up at 4 o'clock this morning to make our way back over here, and it really was disappointing on our end yesterday because this is the largest single scratch event in the state of Indiana. It's the one everyone wants to win. We have a major at the U.S. Open going on right now. Well, this is the major for the amateur bowlers here in the state of Indiana. So
sold out all the squads and everything, I believe, if that's what I heard correctly. And I mean, like I said, they're hungry to win this title, and we've already got some guys seated in there waiting for these guys to come join them.
Yeah, and I made a comment about the top 16. Well, usually the top 16 is guaranteed, but they had a tie for 16 and 17, so they took the ties. So we actually have seeds 18 through 48 bowling here, and really, as always, it's extremely tight. I believe 17th place was plus 24, and you're probably looking at 48 somewhere around, I believe, minus 10, minus 12. So it's a very, I mean, we're talking what, a mark or two difference between 30 guys.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of places to find that out there. I mean, it's a demanding condition. There are guys averaging 200, but it's you can catch a tough pair and get some ball reaction that you're not comfortable with till you get going, and it's tough to throw strikes to get back in the game to save it. So, I mean, if you look, I mean, there was 5 or 6 guys or bowlers who missed the first cut, missed the cut to be seeded into today by less than 5 pins. So yeah, that's just count. That's not a mark. That's just even count.
Yeah,
so.
and you look at the standings here. What's amazing is Kevin McCune finishes, I believe, somewhere around 11th, 12th at the U.S. Open. Just misses the top 9 TV show.
Great showing too. What a demanding condition there as well. And he looked great. He could have made that television show to get in the top 9 yesterday, but just missed.
Yeah, you think the mental grind that he went through for, essentially, 24 games of qualifying, but he had to bowl the PTQ to get in. So he bowled 32 games and then bowled another 24. He had 56 games
just to participate.
Just to participate, get a check. And then he shows up at the Indiana Masters in the last squad and leads the tournament, shooting 668.
I think the Indiana Masters for him is one of those that kind of gave him some confidence when he won, a few years ago. And so I think it's one of those things where he like I said, he likes this tournament. He wouldn't do it otherwise. And it's a challenge deal. But what he just went through, he's got to be the guy you look for.
Yeah, and very impressive from that standpoint. When exciting times here too for the state of the Indiana State USBC. We have some new sponsors on board. We have brand new agreement here with the Brands of Brunswick. Brunswick jumping on board to be a part of the tournaments of the state of Indiana, and it's not just the Indiana Masters, it's the Indiana State Open, it's the women's state, it's the mixed state, it's youth, it's all kinds of stuff that we do here, and they're all part of that. I want to thank them for jumping on board. Also, RT Tour Experience out of Pinheads and All-Star Bowl in Indianapolis. That's Ronnie and EJ Tackett's Pro Shop. Tim Mack's Victory Lane Pro Shop. He's got several new pro shops in Indianapolis, one in Woodland Bowl. He's been sharing all of his social media throughout the week there at the U.S. Open, and everybody knows Tim Mack from that standpoint. A1 Automotive, and then our other sponsors, Arrowhead Bowl, Big Four Sox, and Pinheads Entertainment in Fishers. So, again, want to thank you being patient with us. I'm sure we really missed showing you all the qualifying squads yesterday, but we're excited to be here. This is the moment you wait for, not only as a player but as a viewer. We're going to see a lot of clutch bowling, drama, excitement as we progress through the day. As again, these bowlers here will bowl 2 games, and the top 18 through 32 seeds based on their 5-game total. Pins carried over from yesterday. They'll bowl 2 more, add them all together, and we'll see the top bowlers seeded 18 through 32, and they'll partake in single-game, double elimination matches. And sometime around 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll have a champion.
Yeah, and and whoever's left standing, it's going to be a well-earned victory because it's a challenge. And once we get past the qualifying here, these one-game matches go fast. And if you don't make the adjustment, you're going to be out pretty quickly. And just because you got a big score doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go forward. So it's who you're bowling against and how you match up there. So that's what makes it more exciting even.
Yeah, and the conditions are so tough. I was talking to TJ Schmidt, a friend of mine who happens to have won this tournament twice, and actually the defending champion, I believe. He, was making comments of, not getting 9 or better in a fill because he knew, 2 or 3 pins could make a big difference. And you had a point in which you had 4 people tied at +4, and you think about that, 5 or 6 pins could separate literally like 10 or 12 guys.
Yeah, so you make a big move on that. So
yeah,
and that makes it even tougher when you're shooting that fill ball. Maybe you'd like to try another ball to see if he gives you a little better look, but you really can't take that chance, and like I said, lose that 3 or 4 pins or more.
Yeah. Now I don't know the circumstances, but Bailey Maverick, a young PBA player who has had a lot of success in some of these amateur events here in Indiana, he missed the cut by 1 pin. Oh. So you don't know if a 7-count fill made a difference, and you just think about those little things, and that's sometimes, Mike, as many games as you bowled in tournaments and on the PBA Tour, when you doubled and you relaxed a little bit mentally and you got a 6-count, you knew somewhere that's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah, that's why you got to you have to have the same mental attitude all the way through the game. As long as they count, you give it everything you've got. And the other thing you do with that is, once it's out of your hand, you move on.
Yeah.
Because you can find those single pins or even more, all up and down your score sheet for the tournament.
Well, and that's what they always say is, even in basketball, you make a mistake, don't let it affect the next play.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already in the books. It's history. Just the only one that counts is the next one.
Sometimes that's the nature of us.
Easier said than done, though, obviously.
Yeah, we always have a tendency to dwell a little bit on the negative.
Yeah.
And you probably talk to the top players in any respective sport, and they try to get a mental picture of success, making the correct move or play or whatever, and 9 times out of 10 that's what ends up happening, because you can talk yourself into anything at some point in time.
But 100% of the time we're human, so that it's tough. It's good to have the right frame of mind and the good game plan, but it's so easy for that negative to find its way in there, so you just got to keep that to a minimum. But once again this morning, I mean, it looks demanding out there, and shot making is going to be the key, but once again, spares are going to be the highlight.
Yeah, and I think anytime you get on a demanding shot, you're trying to keep the head pin in play, right? And when you get a single pin, or I always, in layman's terms, if 2 pins are touching or next to one another, you got to make those, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the good ones. You got to get the ones you're supposed to get for sure.
Oh.
But boy, there's some designs. I'll tell you what, you can see all sorts of stuff. I do see somebody down the way there. I can't see who it is, but they've got the first 4, so they look like they took advantage of the practice.
And what about this year? As we were talking before we took the air, the new way of practicing at the U.S. Open, you bowl on a pair that you're not even going to bowl on.
Nobody's going to bowl on.
Then
right.
you walk down with your equipment to your starting pair.
And
first
good luck
ball
to you.
counts.
They don't tell you good luck, but there you go. But it is good luck because, I mean, let's face it. Across any bowling center in the world, from one pair to the next, you just don't know what the surface microscopically looks like, and is going to dictate a lot of that oil pattern. So, you basically use what you got in practice and start there and let your ball be your guide, and then you start making your adjustments from there. Hopefully you fall right into it. Doesn't always happen though.
Yeah, and it's just, I'm trying to picture practicing for 10 minutes on a lane that could be remotely not even close to what you're going to bowl on, and you're trying to match up not only line, but ball surface, ball. I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I think that you've really got to. So there they had their practice sessions on all those patterns on Monday. So that's where you put all your mental knowledge in of what things and how they're going to play, because you were able to bowl on the lanes you're bowling on. So you kind of get those practice lanes off to the side that you're going to start before you bowl your actual qualifying, and it's loosen up and be ready to be physically 100%, and then you kind of get an idea and see if you still have a similar look, but you're not sold on that. You got to be in there with an open mind. But the key is going to be when you go to that starting pair and it's your first shot, you've got to make the best quality physical shot you can make so that you can make adjustments off that and know what that ball did. If you go out there and make a bad shot, now you're in trouble, because now you're trying to guess again, and you got to do that twice because you got 2 lanes you're bowling on. So
right.
It's so important for the technicians who throw the ball really well and have simpler games, or at least their games they know their games very well inside and out, to make those first 2 shots on that pair gives them the roadmap.
Well, and it's different if you're bowling 3, like a league play, like you're bowling 3 games on that pair. You have time to figure it out. Mm-hmm. You're bowling 1 game on that pair, and then so you're really it's like you're moving from a fresh pair that you're just coming off of with no preconceived notion of what that could do. So yeah, it's just bowling is so much. There's it's not just, as you know, Mike, better than anyone. It's not just throwing a ball. You're trying to see what that ball does. You're trying to figure out what the lane is asking you to do. There's just a lot more in there. And then you're trying to physically and mentally prepare yourself to throw the best shot you can.
Yeah, execute. And a lot of thought to the reason why they do that is there was so much lane manipulation by the 10 minutes of practice on those starting pairs by the bowlers who were on those pairs. And I remember back when we bowled, or when I bowled on tour, it was not as much. There was manipulation, but it wasn't as much as there is today. Mm-hmm. So, and you always loved it. Facetiously, you loved it when you saw somebody drilled a new ball and came out and threw their first shot in practice, and they had sanded, the living daylights out of it, and it just, you can just see it just peeling the oil right off the lane, and that is what happens. Then whatever the condition that the tournament may have laid out for you is totally different now because of that, or which happened a lot, and there were fines given out. They actually changed that on tour about halfway through my career, where you would drill balls. Well, when you work out a bowling ball, there's all sorts of ball dust in the bottom, and if it didn't get, and we were in charge of doing that to clean, set up our bowling balls and clean them out and all that, and as much as you want to drop that ball on the floor and get that extra dust out, inevitably there was always one guy, you'd see it and it'd be like a powder keg just going off everywhere, and there's ball. Then you see it on the lane because there's so much of it. That's like putting down oil dry, So those when you happen to be on that pair, you didn't give very many good looks to that person that did it. So, but it became a fine after that because it did create so much havoc and trouble.
Did you? I don't know. you know, I happened to catch an interview with Chris Prather on Facebook on the PBA's Facebook page, and he was talking about on day 3, he actually wanted to find or hit the pairs that had urethane in front of him because it gave him more shim, more hold down lane, but he still had the out. And he says, when I found that, his scoring was incredibly different. So on pairs that he didn't have that, he was shooting 190, 180. Yeah. He gets to those pairs with urethane in front of him, and he shot 250, 260, 250. And it's just amazing how guys can turn that on and turn it off. But it's interesting how smart.
Yeah.
I don't think the PBA Tour guys on a regular basis get enough credit for how smart they are and how much they understand not only about bowling balls but lane play, what the pattern's going to do as it transitions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thought, and you know there are other guys doing it, but boy, that takes a lot of effort to know that and chart that and remember that. But it's a tremendous deal, and you know that's the thing where you know he was able to shoot 250s and 260s or 180s and 190s, which is as much as important because there was many guys that might be able to shoot the 250 or 60, but they were backing it up with the 150, 160. So. You know, so that's the thing of finding that look that you can really make hay when you get a chance to, you know, shoot that 250. But boy, that game that you don't have it, find that happy medium where you can make spares, you know. But yeah, that's a tremendous story from Chris Prather, which you can tell why he is pretty competitive every week, highly competitive.
Yeah, and it's just. It's just amazing, as you say, just how these guys can execute under the most pressure situations. You know, when the amateurs get in there, not only are they battling, we've talked about it before, not only are they battling lane play, they're battling themselves internally sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys are just, all right, we're going, you know.
Yeah, you have to get your mind into that. It's you know, you have to be a little nervous when you go out there because you want to make sure that you're dotting the I's and crossing T's and making sure you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You get too comfortable out there, and all of a sudden you're not as crisp on some shots, and even though you're relaxed, you don't want to be too relaxed. You want to be able to make sure you're at that. You understand that every shot counts.
All right, looking around, we have a few people here that have some strings. See if we got some notable players here in front of us. Billy Hibbard from Indianapolis here on 5 and 6. We got double screens, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 are right in front of on the left side, or the right side. On the left side, it looks like we have 7, 8, 9, 10. We have Nick Graviel bowling. Jeff Mann is down there on that side. Billy Hibbard. We also have Jacob Wright here bowling on lane 5 here on the right side of your screen, and he throws a flush strike for a big double. That's his first double. He's clean so far through 8. Boy, that's a word you want to hear, isn't it? Clean.
That is good, yeah.
You could strike a lot, but if you can't make a spare, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
No, because there's a lot less three-baggers out there than there is. You know, just doubles and clean.
There's T.J. Schmidt on the far right side with a strike.
Yeah, very nice shot there.
Opened on his last frame on lane 8. And now
he was kind of giving you a hard time this morning, I think.
Oh, he always does, yeah. Here's Jeff Mann in the Motive shirt here. Oh, he comes in high. Jeff's kind of struggling here a little bit.
He's getting that ball. He gets so much smooth revolutions that, boy, that ball just bit on the back end. That's a tough one to control when it hooks that much on the back in the last couple feet.
Chris Curry here on 7 and 8 too as well, a good player from Indianapolis. Well, we appreciate you tuning in this morning here at the Indiana Masters from Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana. Scott Gilmore, Mike Aulby in the booth, Chad Lester, our production engineer. If you don't like where the cameras are at, blame him.
Use the engineer term loosely. I don't have a degree in engineering.
Well,
you went to Purdue, right?
You're our engineer right now.
Yeah.
So,
Loosely.
I mean, it is. Chad was he was kind of my co-captain, my co-pilot yesterday as we were.
I was going to ask who drove all over the state yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
It was fun.
You
Not
know,
really, but
Yeah.
us as Purdue fans and alumni, we were.
Was there some sort of alarms going off in your car when
Yeah.
you crossed into?
Kind of uncomfortable there. Kind of uncomfortable being in IU Hoosier territory. It was hilarious because, my wife, big shout out to my wife, Karen.
oh yeah.
She met us Friday in Lebanon to try to get our old system to see if we couldn't get this to work. And so Chad and I packed everything up yesterday, and we were ready to call it, and in a frustrating manner. But so we call Digital Arts in Bloomington, and she said, "Yeah, come on down to get it." We were just getting to Lebanon, and then Chad's like, "I think we should go get it." I'm like, "I think you're right." So we UE off the exit off Lebanon, turned around, and I called my wife, and I said, "Well, honey, we're heading to Bloomington." And she thought I was going to the basketball game. She's like, "You're what?" And I'm like, No.
I can see where she jumped to that conclusion.
No, my daughter thought I was going too. So I texted her. I said, "We're going to Bloomington." She's like, "You going to the game?" And she started to get mad because she's my basketball buddy from all the home games. So
Thought you were going without her.
yeah.
She's like, "You're what?"
Uh-huh.
I'm like, Yeah. Nope, not going to the game,
I
honey.
could only wish that was the case, right?
I did look at StubHub just to
gosh.
see maybe there
How bad was
might be
that?
something.
Or how high was that?
The cheapest was the cheapest was $383 a ticket.
What, partial blocked view?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's Assembly Hall.
Yeah.
Obstructed view.
Yeah, it's not the greatest
No, I've never been
venue
there,
for, if you don't have great seats. And they had the lady that was there doing the interviewing for ESPN. She went up to the top level, and it is so steep.
steep.
They're literally 7 stories up above the court, and it's at a really steep angle. You remember Market Square Arena back in the day, and you get up in that upper
Felt
level.
like you were going to just roll head over heel going down the
that's
hill.
exactly how Assembly Hall
It might
is.
be worse.
And wearing what is it, gold and black? They might have give you a little help going down that hill.
Yeah. And TJ just missed a 10-pin. As we talked about, you just can't miss spares. All right, we're going to get you. We're going to try to get you the cut score before we leave the air here for the semifinal round. Then we'll have about an hour break while they run the lanes, and then we'll have double elimination, single game matches, and that's when the intensity picks up here.
Yeah, because this is one of those, it's very short format this morning. So this first game, if you're not at least holding close to 200, you've got a big makeup trying to catch back up. No matter how low the scores are, I mean, you just can't lose pins.
Right, and you wanted to stay. You just didn't want to give up too much.
Yeah.
You were okay with a 190 game or better.
Yeah, because it keeps you in play for the next game.
Yeah, because then, but depending upon how many pins you're out, you felt like you had to come back with at least a 2-team game. But you shoot a 220 game, and you're gaining quite a bit on the field from that standpoint.
But to force yourself into that 230-40 range, that's a tough game out there.
Because you have to figure 17th place that's already in the top half of the bracket. They're only a 208 average. So 220 is 14 pins better than the median average of what the match play field will be. So.
And there are a couple decent games we're seeing across there. I mean, there's some strikes.
Yeah, Billy Hibbert here on lanes 5 and 6 has a chance to shoot 227 with a strike here in the fill.
With a good finish, 9th and 10th here, striking out. Nice shots. Great finish.
He tried his luck in the U.S. Open and the PTQ and didn't make it,
Well, a little over 100 entries for that, and 21 spots or something.
Yeah, 110 entries or something like
yeah,
that.
That's a tough PTQ to get into.
Yeah. All right. Again, we appreciate Gene Perez there citing. Gene, he bowled Friday night in the sweeper, and he was mentally fried. He said he wasn't sure he was going to bowl, but I knew Gene was going to bowl. He never turns
bowls
it down.
I don't think he takes a day off. So yeah, he's always bowling in a tournament somewhere.
Yeah, he walked away from us, and I looked at Scott and I said, he's going to bowl.
Yeah, I can't imagine him. It wouldn't be a tournament if you didn't see Gene here, especially and in the money for sure.
Oh, for
let
sure.
alone a chance to win it.
Yeah. So when we saw the standings last night, it's like, see, he bowled. But we talked to him, he was mentally drained.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
well, that'll
which
take it
I
out
can
of
imagine.
you. Yeah. When those type of demanding conditions, they will definitely take it out of you.
Yeah, that concentration level has to be such
Yeah.
a high level the whole time.
And you can't afford, just even a frame lapse.
Mhm.
It'll cost you in those.
Yeah, but to have to, go through it one day and then get up and do it again. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
talk about rest is key.
Oh.
You know.
Well, today, we wish E.J. Tackett a lot of luck out there to get that U.S. Open and claim that Triple Crown and avenge last year's finish and which he bowled really well, obviously, and finished second. But he looks pretty solid this week. He looks determined, and obviously the scores show it so far. So a lot of luck to E.J. out there.
Yeah, if anyone deserves it, it's him. But it's a pretty stacked field today. I mean,
it's a strong one, and then Kyle Troop gets in from yesterday. So yeah, it's he had another who's somebody who can make a run and run the table.
Getting near the end of this first game, it looks like. Hopefully they'll get his scores pretty quick. I believe match play's supposed to start around noon. I saw a post on Facebook. The people who had buys, they can start coming into practice at 11:30.
So would you come in and watch a little bit this morning and see what they look like, or would you just take advantage of that, taking a break and because once you I mean, they got an idea. They're gonna strip and re-oil again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what you would pick up by that other than wanting to be here and get yourself settled in mentally and that sort of thing would probably be why. But
yeah, I think if it was me, I'd probably get a good night's sleep, of course, and then try to get here about an hour before we start bowling.
Yeah, you get here too early, you can outthink yourself for
yeah,
sure.
but I hate being rushed. I mean, I even try to get the league, 45 minutes ahead of time. I don't like getting there and putting my shoes on, and I want to sit and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe socialize and do all that.
Yeah, get relaxed.
But there's a lot of guys that'll show up 10 minutes before they bowl.
Yeah.
And
that's
too
tough.
much
Tough for me to just turn it on and off like that.
Yeah, and I think getting here early gets you in the right frame of mind, too. Not sure where Scott ran off to.
Yeah.
I guess he quit.
He didn't say anything.
It's been a
just
long
walked off.
weekend.
Yeah. He tapped out. No.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's out looking for a story there somewhere, I'm sure. And he probably saved everyone a cash spot by not bowling yesterday. So, he along with you were quite busy getting things straightened around so we could be on the air today. So
yeah, we had planned on going home. He wasn't in a good frame of mind to bowl.
Yeah.
Not alone, let alone, we was stressed out about all that, and then you have to sit there and answer the same question over and over and over again from every bowler. Why aren't we live streaming? That kind of thing. But
one thing they can count on though is that you guys do everything you can possibly do to be here. So that's all everybody needs to know. That if you don't have Savage bowling TV on the air, something mechanically happened that you weren't able to fix or handle. So here we are today, though, because you were able to get it figured out.
Yeah, we made a good choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you, because
you're
you know, it's like I said, not only do I look for it, but the bowlers look for it and appreciate it, and it means a lot to the state. You know, it really does.
Yeah, what's nice is Digital Arts is letting us keep this.
Yeah,
the brains
sound
of
like
the
great
system
people. They sound like great people down there. Yeah.
We have until at least the end of March. You know, we have Indiana High School bowling next weekend, and we're back here for the Queens on March 4th. So,
a lot of action coming up.
Yeah. It's that time of year.
It is.
Should look forward to it.
Hey, we got sun out today. Don't know snow and no 20 below, so we're ahead of the game here. You know,
I'll take that.
Championship Lanes in Anderson. Of course, it's always good inside here. So we're thanks to Angie and Dave Small, and you know, it's a great venue to always be at, and we look forward to coming up here.
Well, yeah, especially Angie and Shannon, who's the head mechanic here, for working with us, letting us stay later on Friday as we tested out some more things. They had the lights shut out on us, and you know, everybody was gone, and Shannon stayed with us, and
very nice.
And then you know, we called Angie back up yesterday, and she's the general manager, and we're like, hey, we're coming back today. And we need to get in here at 6:30 to set all that stuff back up again. And she's like, whatever you want.
Yep, she will be
they're great here.
Great help. Yeah, great help. Well, it looks like game one is someone.
Yeah.
Nope, they're starting already down there. So that's everybody's completed game one. So everybody's rotating, making their moves to game two. And once again, it's, you know, first frame's going to be the test for you, because it's going to be see what has happened on that pair during the first game, where the bowlers have played, and see what the condition's going to be like. So first and second frame are always a test.
Go ahead and take a break while they switch pairs, and we'll be right back.
If you're ready to take your game to the next level, trust the guys with over 20 PBA Tour titles and RT Tour experience to improve your game. Ball layouts for the best feel and to maximize your game. The top names in bowling: Motive, Brunswick, Hammer, Radical, Storm, Roto Grip, and more in stock. Get tips and lessons from PBA stars Mike Devaney and Ronnie Russell. When you're ready to invest in your bowling game, go to RT Tour Experience with 2 locations, inside Pinheads and Fishers and All-Star Bowl in Indianapolis.
Pinheads Entertainment Center has it all. A modern-style bowling alley with 2 private bowling suites. Alley's Ale House serves up a chef-crafted menu daily, featuring signature handcrafted cocktails and over 30 draft options. The arcade at Pinheads offers 90-plus games, including old-school games, Golden Tee, and virtual reality with top-tier prizes. Host large events or meetings in the multifunction banquet room that can accommodate up to 80 guests. Visit, call, or reserve online today. Off State Road 37 next to Honda of Fishers.
Keep your vehicle running like new. Stop by A1 Automotive to get an honest rundown of what your vehicle needs or doesn't need. It's all part of their no-pressure, no-upsell environment. Find them online at a1cardoctors.com or stop in today right off Coliseum across from Tractor Supply. A1 Automotive.
If you're ready to take your game to the next level, trust the guys with over 20 PBA Tour titles and RT Tour experience to improve your game. Ball layouts for the best feel and to maximize your game. The top names in bowling: Motive, Brunswick, Hammer, Radical.
All right, welcome back here to Championship Lanes, the Indiana Masters here on Savage Bowling TV. Scott Gilmore, Mike Aulby, and Chad Lester here, our engineer and director. Again, want to thank our sponsors. They are a huge part of making this possible. We want to thank RT Tour Experience, A1 Automotive, Big Four Socks, Mike Aulby's Arrowhead Bowl, Tim Mack's Victory Lane Pro Shops, Pinheads Entertainment, and Fishers. Want to thank those, and obviously the Indiana USBC. Want to thank the state board for allowing us to be a part of this. Game 1 in the books. Hopefully we'll get some standings here shortly. And Jerry, appreciate you, appreciate the kind words, and hey, we are very appreciative of you and the state USBC to allow us to broadcast the wonderful events here in the state of Indiana. Gene Perez right here in front of us with a open.
Yeah, that's one of those. Here you go, first frame, see what it does, and you leave a 3.67, and you don't get that break of, you know, having to make he could make that. I'm surprised he didn't, but you know, you just hope that the first shot's going to be one that looks like it did when you just came off of.
Yeah, yeah. And Gene has made more difficult spares than you can shake a stick at. Zach Tackett here with the strike.
All you got to do is look
open.
at the ball and kind of tell which family that came from. You know.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Zach tried his hand at the U.S. Open this week,
did he?
and he didn't make it through the PTQ. And Zach's been bowling so much better, and I think he's knocking at the door here of.
Oh, that was a great shot there. Great shot to start this game out.
As you know, Mike, there's definitely a learning curve out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and if you think you don't need to keep learning, yeah, that's when it bites you. But you know, you've got to continue to be cognitive to the fact that, you know, things change. You can learn something every time you go out, and you just never know when that's going to click, whether it's late in the tournament, what helps you the next one, or if it's in the middle and all of a sudden you go and can get to the finals.
Ask and you shall receive.
That was quick. How'd you do that?
Jeff Circle handing us the rundown here, and Jacob Young now out in front with shooting at 235 his first game. He's got 839. Craig Lamond right behind him at 838. Terry Vaughn with 837. And think about this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys separated by just 4 pins, and 6 guys separated by 6. So Zach Tackett with 835, Nick Reveal with 833, Ben Codwell 820, Chris Curry at 817, Billy Hibbert 816, Chris Hankins 812, Ryan Schlosser 812, Zach Thompson 809, Charles Rott 808, and right now there's a two-way tie for the final spot. That's Kent Thompson and Corey Deck with 803. Jeff Mann just right behind them at 801. So again, a lot of movement in there. Of course, you get out here and you shoot a low game. Gene Perez 145 game 1. He finds himself he's 50 pins, 40 pins out. He knows he has to shoot a big game.
When he comes down here and it looks like he moves to the outside, which after shooting, you know, the lower game, it's probably why he's out there trying to find something different. Because if we just lefty on this pair the last time, and they were playing in and shot in the 190s, but looked like that was the theory early. Beautiful shot there, Zach Tackett for the double.
Another past champion, TJ Schmidt, shot 181 his first game. He's at 782. He's 21 pins out, and really, to be honest with you, you know, that is very makeable as far as when you get a pattern this hard. You know, you can have some major swings. Guy shoots 160, which is so easy to do, and somebody shoots 220, there's 60 pins.
You may not need that 240 or 250 because you may get some help, and that's the thing. I mean, if you drop all the way down to the last bowler, Dexter Harrod had a struggle the first game as well, but he's only 58 pins going into this last game out. So.
Gene Perez playing right up 1-2 board.
And that had plenty of power left when it hit. Great shot for a double.
Well, he's at a point where he's thinking to himself he's got to shoot 220 or better. And maybe that might not be enough.
Yeah, I mean.
He's probably thinking a bigger number than that.
You figure a couple are going to come back, but how many's going to go forward? That's the thing.
Right. Ryan Schlosser on 3 and 4. Jeff Mann on 3 and 4. Craig Lamond on 5 and 6. Matt Phillips on 5 and 6. Zach Tackett on 7 and 8 with Gene Perez. Ben Caldwell is on 7 and 8. Boy, it's just, you just watch guys, and there's Zach with a washout. It's just, you miss just a little bit. And that was, I think that's Nick Hoagland, who does the lane maintenance for the USBC, and he's the one that came up with all of these lane patterns for the US Open. And Nick is about shot making, and, you know, if you miss a little bit, you're going to pay a penalty. And speed is going to be critical, too, as well.
And it missed by a little bit, but it makes, on the other end, when it hits the pins, looks like you missed by a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the case.
You know, fans, if you're wanting to know, if there is a tie for the last spot in the top 32, they will have a one-game roll-off.
That would be one tough game, too.
We're supposed to ask, got a fan here, Dane Reynolds, wants us to ask Craig Lamont about his dress pants. Maybe we'll have to get him on the broadcast here.
Or maybe a little research prior to that question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Dane, let me know that yesterday. No, I wasn't here yesterday. No, we'll try to see if we can't put Craig on the spot, and Gene goes high, and he just can't afford to miss.
That was a little more direct, but boy, it just broke loose early.
And that, you know, that's stressful. To think on this type of pattern, you got to strike every frame.
And you've got about 1.5 boards to hit.
You know, Ryan Schlosser with a great shot on 3 and 4, and he's clean through 4. Nick Graviel on this pair too as well. He's in essentially 6th place out of this group, which would put him in somewhere around 23rd, 22nd in the match play portion, seating wise. And you could just see the stress on every shot, every spare. You could just see.
Even when you're lined up, you can feel that uncomfortableness.
Oh, we got a lane down here on lane 5. I tell you, got to give Shannon a lot of credit here. The mechanic and for championship lanes, he does a phenomenal job, and he is right on it. Jeff Mann comes in high. He had a strike working, leaves the 4-7. Jeff is one of those just on the outside looking in, but he's only 2 pins out.
And he can throw some strikes when he gets it figured out. Yeah, I'm not liking the look on that outside very much for Gene Perez.
Well, it's touchy, isn't it?
Yeah, last one just broke loose. He got in a little. That one he got out a little, and the 3 pin. So, yeah, he's not a lot of room for error on that one. And John Long, a lefty, also bowling on that pair. And he's playing more towards the inside, but not having much luck either.
Well, he didn't have a whole lot of luck on the previous pair bowling with Gene. He only shot 160. Left side was tricky. You know, as you know, it's a numbers game. We don't have enough to really, what they would say, open up the track like the right side does to create more friction. Yeah. Usually that's where Gene's rev rate comes into play, where he can control his angles, keep them in front of him with the urethane, but it's not working too well for him right now.
Yeah, and the last thing you want to do is turn it early on this look here. It just wants to just break loose, no matter which side of the lane you're throwing from.
Good morning, Natalie. Appreciate you tuning in. Your hubby's got a great chance, another great opportunity to claim that U.S. Open, which would give him the Triple Crown.
Yeah, he has looked quite awesome out there. I mean, just confident, comfortable, and you know, same way today. He'll go out there with that same confidence, and you know, hopefully he'll just one shot at a time and take it home.
Well, and how close he's been last year.
Oh yeah.
Coming up short against Anthony Simonson. Just had a few shots he'd probably like to have back in that match.
Yeah, I mean,
against Anthony.
It just it just didn't look like a very good look for him last year, but this year he came out and obviously he's determined, and you can see why. I mean, he's got the game every week he bowls, so you would expect him to be there again, and I'm sure he wants to bring this home and then move on. And you know, there's certain matches in your career when you win that one and then all of a sudden you just take it to the next level, and that's what you always know that is in EJ's back pocket. He'll turn it to a new level.
Well, nobody knows more about the Triple Crown than yourself, Mike. I mean, what was it like, you're winning another major, one of the most difficult majors to win. You're getting the Triple Crown, which very few players in history have. And second, how big is it to win in your hometown?
Well, you talk about, at least I talk about how there's certain matches the ones that kind of take you to the next level. And I won the Indianapolis Open in '84, and I hadn't won in 2.5 years. And I always felt if I could win there, I could win anywhere, just because of the pressures that I put on myself, because all the people you knew and you wanted to do well for those people and yourself. And then when I was able to win there, it just opened things up for me. I mean, it just took to a new level for me. So, yeah, it was all self-inflicted in my own self because I put that pressure on myself. But like I said, if I could ever win there, I could win anywhere, and then things turned loose for me when I was able to. So, and that's what I would. Not that EJ doesn't already have a great career, but there's more left, you know, and he's young.
Well, and you don't ever want to put too much pressure on yourself. No. You know, and because of the expectation, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there are very few that are as talented as EJ at this sport.
Very few,
and
if any.
Yeah. And as you know, it's the majors are the ones that you want. That's where you're judged on in your greatness, correct?
You know, for me, I put more emphasis on those, even though I wanted to win every time I went out. But the majors, you know, definitely made you feel a lot better when you got one of those, for sure.
I mean, you ask Tiger Woods, who has, 82, 83 PGA Tour wins, and he's only thinking of the 15 majors that he has in his mind. Mm-hmm. There's other tournaments that he's ecstatic to have, but
they're stepping stones.
You are judged on the majors.
Yeah, they're stepping stones, and the majors are, you know, usually where the money's at, and like I said, people remember those more than they do the others.
Right. I mean, they all know the Triple Crown winners, you and Pete Weber and others. You know, everybody knows Pete has 5 U.S. Opens. That's where, you know, because the greatness of winning a major gets all the attention, gets all the media attention and the status quo. And as a player, that's what you're trying to gain. And that's how we're judged by a lot of times. And it's no different than this right here. The greatness of Gene Perez winning 2 state titles, you know, a Masters and a Scratch Classic, T.J. Schmidt with 2 Indiana Masters and a Scratch Classic. Those are hard. I mean, it's hard to win these. It's hard to win anything per se. But the majors are even more difficult because the level of talent, the field is higher, greater, and then the conditions, and the format is long and grueling.
Although this condition, EJ's made it look different scoring pace than the other 99% of the field. So he certainly has been determined and is throwing the ball so well. So, like I said, for him, it's just going to be out there and just do what he's been doing and one shot at a time and just bring it home.
Well, Jeff Mann, after that 8 spare, picking up the 4-7 in the 5th, he's doubled now, and he's won that's again 2 pins out of the number after 1 game. And it's going to be really hard to believe to see Gene Perez not in the top 32. It's been a long time since he hasn't been a factor in one of these tournaments.
Yeah, it just looks like he's obviously he's very uncomfortable out there with what ball reaction he's got, but just trying to add a little more speed. But when you add speed, you get extra hits, so that seems to be a big problem. Last thing you want to do is turn it early out there.
Yeah. In talking with some of the players, it was just trying to float that ball through the front.
Get it through the front. Get it to the spot on the back end that you know it's going to have enough left. Get you to the pocket, carry. But if you jump on it a little earlier, get that thumb down, and you turn a little early, it's going to break loose that 5 or 10 feet earlier, and then you're looking at designs on the pins there.
Well, again, Natalie, we thank you for tuning in this morning, and I'm sure you can't wait to get over to Woodland to hopefully watch your husband claim that long-awaited U.S. Open Championship. And I'm sure we'll see you here in March 4th to be exact, for the Indiana Queens. And we look forward to bringing you that broadcast here in a few weeks, right here from Championship Lanes in Anderson. And next week we'll be down in Indianapolis for the Indiana High School State Championships. And unfortunately, Mike, you'll be out vacationing in California. And
I will be, yes. I apologize for that. We've got a trip back to where my wife's from, so we're going to Monterey, and
well, there's worse things to do.
Yeah, hopefully it's not like Pebble Beach this week, because it's been nothing but rain and wind. It didn't look too good there, so hopefully that clears out and we'll have a good time there, which I'm sure we will. But.
Well, and we're happy to have Mark Sullivan stepping in your shoes. Big shoes to fill, they are. And
class guy, great bowler, Mark. Been around the tour and regular tour and seniors tour, and just a great player, and continues to do well. But he's a good guy. That's the best part.
Well, and we know how those state finals go for Indiana High School bowling.
Oh wow!
And especially the team of he's in for an interesting day, right?
Fire drill.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think Gene's
he's just firing a hard
one. Yeah, but the high school bowling, though, I tell you what, is so exciting, and it always brings to mind watching E.J. Tackett for the first time for me, and watching them dominate the state and all that stuff. So but the high school, we've seen so many great players come through there, Matt Sanders, and just you name it, and it's just there's even ones. Well, go back, you're talking about the U.S. Open at Woodland Bowl, and Nathan Smith from Noblesville led the PTQ, and was in contention to either make the finals or get a check until I think the last round. But so Indiana has some great bowlers, and we know about those because of you and Chad and Savage Bowling TV. So thank you for that. But next week, the high school finals, in Western Bowl and Indy, and it'll be great. It'll be exciting, and there'll be new stories.
Yeah, and get a great look at the future of the sport, which, Mike, you as a proprietor and owner of a bowling center, it's so important that we have a large quantity of youth players, because they're the ones that are going to be bowling league, we hope, for years to come. And again, it's just important that we continue to grow the sport. What's amazing to me, I'll be honest with you, is the amount of two-handers that you see now, how the game is starting to revolutionize. It's changing, right, as it grows older. Impressive to see just how good some of these young players are, and making a name for themselves right away. And you mentioned two great ones there, and E.J. Tackett, Matt Sanders. Zach Weidman has had a nice start to his career by making a few shows a few years ago. And then obviously Bailey Maverick is Kevin McCune, other players that are from this state. Indiana is very well represented.
Very well represented. So yeah, it's really nice to see, but like I said, it's all because of what you guys do to really make sure that they're getting the publicity. Where a lot of other states, they don't have that opportunity. So what you guys do and bring to the masses is awesome and exciting, and it means a lot to the bowlers to get that. I mean, it's one thing to win and get the money, but it's nice to have that recognition amongst your peers and other people. So thank you. And once again, I go back to, I know it was a rough day for you guys, but boy, it becomes more of a it's like you exceeded when you were down and it was tough, and it's much more than just here we are today. It was much more than that. So thank you.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's also educating, you know, those that haven't had the live streams and those things a part of their career. They don't, I'm not saying they don't understand the importance of it, but these young players, they thrive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when there's a live stream at a tournament, it's different in their mind. You know, and all these young kids that are talented, they have brands that they are a part of. You know, they're representing Ebonite, Brunswick, Hammer, Storm, Rotogrip, whoever that may be, Motive. And, you know, it's important for them to be seen. And one thing that we have learned, too, is this video is there forever, right? And as we talked about, the money's gone, but the recognition, the accolades that you get for winning, and the video memories, they last forever. And so does the trophy. You have an awful lot of nice ones there at Arrowhead.
Well, you know, and also think, you know, like when I was a kid, you'd always, okay, you're practicing. It's like, oh, I need this double in the 10th to win the tournament champions. Now you're giving that to them. Now they can say, hey, I need this double to win the Indiana Masters, to win the high school championship. You know, those things in this day and age are now possible on a different level, but it's a start. And not only, you know, you talk about what the high school bowling means and them being on, those are recruiting videos for them. So is it a recruiting video for the Indiana State Masters, the Queens? And it is, because now you're playing for a job with, you know, Motive, Brunswick, you know, all these, you know, all the different companies. Now you've got video footage in action of how you're throwing the ball, and, you know, you can't tell me they aren't looking at things like that. How you represent yourself.
Right.
So these are your you know, using these videos as an adult player, whether you're male or female or whatever. You know, you're using these now as basically you know, an application for employment. You know, so it brings a lot more than just, hey, here's today's show, who's on it, and that. It like you said, it lasts.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get in your will and see if I can't get one of those trophies so I can put down in my basement when. You know?
You know, those might be, you know, one of these days, I'm getting older. It's time to start delving out some of these balls I've won things with and stuff like that, you know, so.
Well, you and I are collectors, you know? And, you know, I have stuff in my basement that I enjoy having. And, yeah, you know, here's the thing. When you were bowling back in those days, they really put effort into the quality of trophy. And I always felt like that was the coolest thing, because you got to keep that forever.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and it's funny you say that, because you go through, so you always think about the trophies that, gosh, I would have always wanted to win this one just because, like Japan. I never won Japan. I mean, you got like 6 or 7 different trophies from different associations, different sponsors, and just then when you fly back, it's like you're talking about excess baggage, you know. But I think Parker's done that a couple times, so I'm sure he's fine with that. But and on the regular tour, there was Seattle had a tiki god, and it was everybody's, oh, it's the ugliest truck. Wow, so unique. Let me have that. I never got close to it, but let me have that, you know. So always something different. And like you said, you look at it, it's not just now, it's all seems to be the lucite crystal. You know, there's different, which are cool, but they just say something different.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like they were bigger. It's just
they represented the territory that you were in, right?
You know, one year at Woodland Bowl, they gave away it was like a crystal Indy car, you know, which was kind of cool. So I love the hosts and the sponsors who use that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
One more step into their brand and things like that.
Right.
So
absolutely,
yeah, it's very cool and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah. You know, and that's one thing I think Jeff and their staff has done a great job is, you know, you walk in and you see the big eagle sitting on that table in there, and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I got a perfect spot for that, right? And I'm lucky to have, you know, winning the Scratch Classic, I have one of those.
Yeah.
I was never able to win this, came close numerous times, as we all know, and I have my eagles that I have won sitting in I have a trophy case as soon as you walk in my front door, and I have a lot of people that aren't even bowling fans. They stop and they'll look in there, and they'll ask me a question. And you know, it never fails when I'll go into your center and I'll sit there and stare at some of those trophies, and most of them I know when you won them. You know, like the Masters trophy that was when it was the ABC.
The Frank Baker,
Yeah, it was so unusual, and those are just things that, I mean.
It was all about the Eagle. It was all about the Eagle. It really was. You know, the Masters, and that was with the American Bowling Congress or USBC, the Eagles. It's like, you know, and it's so great that Jeff and his staff and crew and everybody with the state USBC have used that eagle now to be part, because the eagle stands out so much for the USBC and the old ABC and all that. And yeah, because it was always like, gosh, you got to have an eagle.
Yeah, well, it's one of the greatest American symbols in our history.
Yes.
I mean, obviously it represents a bird or an animal.
Nothing
but
like seeing one of those in the wild.
Oh, yeah. It's just a magnificent,
it really is.
species. Yeah. But that is such an honor to have. And those tournaments are so hard to get. And when you get an eagle, it's just so gratifying. I mean, we talk about I've blown the money. But, I still have
exactly.
that.
Exactly.
My kids were probably like, Dad, you should have put the money in the bank,
Oh,
I could have it later. But, the symbolism of what you want to me is a big deal. And I'm not knocking what they do now, because obviously today's winner, not only here at the Indiana Masters, but at the U.S. Open, you get that Eagle trophy there.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like majority of the tournaments, it's just this resin or this acrylic thing. Back in your time, bowling in your prime, the trophies really were fantastic.
I mean, there were some that were like, but you still obviously cherish those things. But like I said, in this day and age, it's more that type of product where, the old day was like, how big could they make them? I mean, my goodness, they used to have one, for Miller High Life, was this loving cup thing that was like 4.5 feet tall.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
I mean, it's like, and how do you carry it?
Yeah.
Now, and my good friend and former best man at my wedding, and I was best man at his wedding, Hook and Bob Hanley down in Florida. So Bob won. He won a tournament in Miami, I believe is what it was. And it was a cypress trunk. So it was like the outline of a trunk of the tree. And it was laminated and it had like it was a clock and all. This thing, we put it in my van. We had it for weeks till we got back to Kansas so we could get it home, or Florida to get it home. And it was like, it covered the whole side of the van. I mean, it was just this huge monstrosity. And Bob still obviously has that, so, and I know, but we carried it forever. It was gigantic. It was almost like, here's your trophy, try picking it up, good luck. But
there's certain things where it's like, maybe,
so, but that, what a great story that would be to bring back some of those, what they look like. And I mean, I won the Canadian Open one year, and it was a soapstone carving of an Eskimo. Really cool. You just never know.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, Jeff Mann just doubled in the 10th to get to 201, and he missed a single pin spare in the 9th. You look back at those, and he had a washout in the 8th, so that's 6-3 is a little deceiving. But as you can see right now, guys are fist pumping just one strike, because you just never know when an extra 5, 6, 7 pins could make a humongous difference. As we're wrapping up semifinal round, and we're going to be off to the top 32. So 15 bowlers from this field will advance to the top 32 for double elimination single game matches. And
then the exciting match play. You talk about fast moving pace. That and you don't want to lose that first match, because boy, then you're bowling the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're bowling the rest of the day.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be the goal, yeah.
We'll try to stick around here as long as we can to get the results, so before. Then we'll have a little bit of a break as they're going to rerun the lanes here for match play. Scott Gilmore, Mike Aulby here in the broadcast booth. Want to thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate you sticking it out with us. It was a rough Friday, Saturday for us, but you know what? Persistence and hard work pays off in this instance.
Most
and
definitely.
Also about 500 miles on my vehicle.
And just so we know, I had absolutely nothing doing helping this. This is all you guys. I was happy to get the call that we were good to go. Yeah,
and I really felt it was gratifying to be able to come back here this morning and set up, because this is the biggest event in the state.
Looking at the prize fund, just under $26,000 in this tournament.
And obviously, too, the winner also gets a paid entry into the USBC Masters, and a little bit of spending money.
Yeah, and could turn into something big if you win that one.
You would know that. How many times? One or twice?
Three.
3 times. Gee whiz.
Finished second once.
Cut you short.
You remember those. I finished second once.
I beg you for my forgiveness.
Well, I just figured I'd hate for it to have.
I'm glad you didn't say like 6. Then I
yeah.
would have felt really bad.
Well, I just didn't want you to have to put out false news, So
Yeah, I know. Got Twitter hate coming. I can see it now.
just from my family.
So you're telling me I could get maybe one of the Frank Baker trophies willed to me? You got 3 of them.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or I could go get the one that Schlegel beat me for in '96 in Utah. So I still remember it like it was 2 seconds ago. But
it's amazing how many of those you remember.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh man. Well, I'm sure people are probably like, we've heard it before, Scott. I've had 4 second place finishes in this tournament.
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating not to get one of those. Just one. I just want one.
Yeah.
And boy, I think to myself, what if I would have had all of them? That would have been, I don't know if that was winning 4 of these. I don't know if it ever be topped. That.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
Well, there's, as you know, the USBC Masters. It's so hard because you have the qualifying portion, then you have 3-game total pin matches, and there's just so much bowling that could you could be a part of, and then you got to have so many breaks go your way.
Yeah, you have to do well. You have to throw it well. You have to do well. You have to get the breaks, but and you need a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky to get the Senior Masters, so I'm happy about that. And
defending champion, correct?
Yeah. Well, and I give Jeff a hard time. I'm like, hey, my eagle's smaller than the one.
You get seated
in
the field, hopefully.
Yeah.
See, that's what they should.
Yeah. The defending champion gets
seated,
gets 16th or whatever. Is that what is it?
You go. Actually, they put
you
in
64th.
They put you in 64th. I think they might have changed that. But
well, yeah, you can qualify better.
Yeah, right.
But you're automatically seated.
Yeah, I did the qualifying one year. I did that. Why, I don't know I did that, but I did it. Just to kind of get an idea what the lanes were.
Yeah.
And that's the year I finished second.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know. It's nice to just sit up in that stands and watch it and sit there and wait.
Do you think Randy Peterson's 8-pin would be less, I guess, difficult to get over if it wasn't Ernie Schlegel? Was there something about Ernie that kind of drove you nuts to lose to?
He didn't do that to me because I didn't leave a solid 8 or a solid 9. I just threw it like crap. But, yeah, that would be, obviously it's a heartbreaking event for Randy.
It still bothers him to this day. Well, it's a major.
But, the fact that, Ernie went above and beyond and, ran all over the place, and that probably did not help at all.
Yeah. For the old guys.
Yeah, I mean, I understand him being excited, but I'm not sure I'd be out there slapping him off in your face. I mean, I'm
running it.
We're lucky Randy was laying on the ground because I'm afraid he would have got up and hit him. But
you remember the commercial where the person's getting ready to bowl and the competitor comes out of nowhere and tackles him at the foul line? That could have been Randy and Ernie.
And it wouldn't have been a commercial. Yeah, of course it would have been on a lot of TV shows, but
that would have been. That would have probably gone down as one of the greatest moments in the history of the PBA Tour if that would have happened.
And I was on that. I was sitting second row on that show. We were sitting there watching, right there, and it's like we were in there live, and it's just like your mouth jaw just drops.
Sorry, I was waving at Kevin McCune, who stuck his head in. Kevin,
he's here already.
Yeah, he's here. He said he's exhausted. I asked him, "How you feeling?" He's like, "Exhausted."
Oh, I can't imagine.
But exhausted with a smile on his face, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked out for him. But talking about another jaw-dropping moment was when Mika missed that 10.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
And Norm handled that.
Really,
I talked about this with Tom Clark the other night. I had dinner with Tom Clark, and we were talking about things like that. And actually, the Solid 8 came up with Randy, and then he was talking about how well, Norm handled that whole deal, with class, because, you feel for the other. You got to feel for the other person, So, and it's different when you win sitting on the bench than when you go out and take it. So.
Yeah. Well, and Norm is a classy guy for the most part too, and he probably sensed if that could have been me, how would I want my opponent to handle it, and you feel bad at that moment, right?
It's Del Ballard with the gutter ball. Same thing. Petey handled that well, and so there's a few of those out there that you could think of a lot of ways that they're just heart wrenching and that sort of thing, but
well, and those are the great things and the bad things about the PBA Tour.
It's life. It's life. It really is.
That's the hard part too. Is you're out there, bowling for a living, and it's difficult when you have some bad breaks or bad luck. And
well, we're talking, $2,000 first place. I mean, getting in here by a bad shot or a bad break, and that. Let's face it, We all could use $2,000. So it's a big moment out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if this is true, but there's a rumor that there's a tie.
Oh.
We'll wait for official confirmation. But
Yeah, we don't have the results
So
yet.
Chad's taking over the false news part, possibly.
Yeah. Hey, trying to build a little drama here.
Well, I really you look good. I like the shirt.
I picked
you
the right shirt.
one.
Yeah. I just had to get your text with a picture on it and hold it up to the mirror with next to myself, and it's like, okay, this is it.
This looks like the one.
This is the one.
Yeah.
After that, well, obviously I can't live it down from when I wore the wrong shirt that one time. My shirt had gray on it. All right.
I know, I love it.
I'm colorblind too, so.
It's like, it's all white.
See, I have
white,
solid black hair now. See, it's like it's
we
not
all
gray,
have
no
a little
gray
bit
at
of
all.
gray and all that. Yeah.
I was noticing Chad now putting the beard on there. He's got some gray hanging out there.
Yeah. He's got quite a bit.
A bunch.
Is that why you guys just shave your head because it's starting to turn gray?
I would love to have a full head of hair. I'm telling you.
No, I love being bald. You don't have to mess with it. Besides
I know.
You don't have to comb it. But you know what? When it does grow back a little bit, when I'm just lazy and don't shave, it doesn't look like I have as much gray on my head as I have on my face.
And this conversation's really taking
we
a bad
went
turn.
south.
Back to bowling.
Yeah. We went south.
Well, again, we want to thank everyone for watching here this morning, and really the best part is yet to come. The single, double elimination, single game matches, a lot of drama. Here's the results from Jeff Circle, tournament director. Or we thought.
He has our attention.
Alrighty, bowlers, here's our results from this morning. Leader Terry Vaughn had a total of 1070. Chris Hankins had 1040. Craig Lamont 1032. Jordan Bryant 1029. Nick Squires 1018. Jacob Wright 1013. Zach Tackett 1006. Craig Monroe 1005. Jeff Mann 1002. Nick Reveal 1001.
We actually have a three-way tie.
Ryan Schlosser 992. TJ Schmidt 990. He was 13th. Now I need these three people to lanes 9 and 10 with your bowling balls. We have Matt Phillips with 977, Ben Caldwell 977, and Jacob Young 977.
And Jeff Mann, who shot 201 his final game, was comfortably in. Like, the scores really dropped here. But we have a three-way tie. And what's really interesting, you drop to the next spot, which would be 17th, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that missed it by 2 pins.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? I mean, 3 is unbelievable, but if those 4 we got 7 people for one spot if those guys had done that. But what a drop it. It dropped, 20-some pins? Or
well, you were plus 3 before, and it dropped 26 pins.
26 pins. Wow.
That just shows you the volatility of the pattern and lanes as you're moving lanes. So,
yeah, there could be a drop, but that's a pretty good drop.
Matt Phillips, Ben Caldwell, and Jacob Young.
Great job, Jeff Mann, to hang in there. I mean, make some good shots to hang in there.
Well, and I don't think it really matters. You know, they were asking if someone bowled on that. I don't think it really matters on this. Do you, Mike? It's going to be hard.
Not at this point, yeah.
And what game did Ben bowl on 9 and 10? Was it the first game or the second? You know, but I don't think it's really going to matter at this point.
Because I assume they're going to get a little practice. I would assume. Is that an assumption that's not real?
I would assume
they
will.
Right?
I don't know. They might not. You know, when you go from match to match, you start.
Right.
There's no warm up, and really we haven't been done for that long. We'll see what he does here. We trust Jeff. He does a phenomenal job running these events. And notable players though, Mike, that just missed out: Noel Vega 962, Gene Perez 960, Chris Curry 959. Those were 2 players that just missed out. Chris Curry had a tough finish, 142. And Noel Vega just never could get anything going, 182, 176. Charles Rott just missing, shooting 975, and, you know, he's looking at himself shooting 167. John Long, who bowled with Gene, he ended up shooting 213 his second game. Almost, as you could tell, just 213, and he is,
just
you know,
missed.
how many pins did he gain? You know, and Ben probably frustrated too because he finished with a 157. Jacob Young went 235, 138, so he just barely held on here too. So interesting thing here, you look at the players, Matt Phillips finished with 197. He improved on his first game score. Could that be a little bit of an advantage here? As these two guys are coming in reeling. Matt
reeling,
improved.
Yeah. Especially on Dallas, you shot 130 thinking you're going to get in.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn the lanes on. You will get 6 minutes of practice.
Okay. There you go.
And that's probably fair. I mean, that's a good
I agree.
Decision.
I agree.
Top 2 scorers will advance to the finals.
So a 3-way tie. We've had some ties before here, but never 3-way for 2 spots. Two guys will get in, and one will be eliminated here. And
oh, are they practicing over there on 1 and 2?
Okay, Des, if we can have 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think they're using 3 and 4. I got to turn the camera. Give me a few minutes.
so they decided to use 3 and 4. Actually, well, you could see it. You just won't see players, but you'll be able to see the ball go down. So we're going to adjust the camera here for you. Would have loved for them to use 5 and 6, but hey. I think one thing, too, is they're not using 3 and 4 in
the actual
in the
match
top
play.
32 match play. I
Yeah,
think it's going to
makes
start
sense.
with 5 and 6. So. And that's why we have Chad on board here.
You say that because he doesn't have his headset on. You can say that.
So you have 2 players coming in who really struggled their last game, and one player that actually 197 right now is a pretty good score.
Yeah.
I think if you're playing in single game matches, you would take 197 every
Most
game.
of the time, yeah. Most of the time I would,
And take your chances at that point.
I definitely take 197 in this where 2 of you are getting in. Well, the shot making there has also been strike solid 10, so he's already lined up and ready to go.
Boy, and you look at the scores of the second game here. Terry Vaughn with 233, Chris Hankins 228. Then you have Jacob Wright 216, Craig Monroe 214, and then it's 208, 213, 201, 200. That's all.
It. That's it, over
so
200.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
200 games.
200 games with 31 guys bowling.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's just hard to fathom. That just shows you how difficult it is. And really, there was only 4 or 5 190 games, and everything else was below that. So,
well, there's 7 or 8 games under 160. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was very demanding, and so they certainly didn't get what they thought was going to be better after they made that first move.
All right, we're going to broadcast you here this 3-way tie match, and then we'll have a break, and we'll be back on the air once the practice starts with the top 32.
So is this one where you think that, so one guy's out and 2 are in? If you're in that match, are you trying to short things up and go a little firmer, a little straighter to keep it in play, make some spares, or do you play the A game and just hope for the best?
I think I would personally play my A game. I got to get in, right? As far as I'm going to go to what, maybe gave me a little bit of success. But I think you're also going to you're going to have to
gauge what's going on.
Yeah, dictate what.
I wouldn't normally look at my opponent or look at that, but yeah, I think you got to look at that when it may be. You just got to keep it in play and make some spares. If you're out there trying your A game and you leave a couple of big splits or something, you're going like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You can't play safe. I mean,
Yeah,
you just can't play safe.
I think you got to keep your foot on the gas. But
Yeah.
you know, is it a situation, Mike, though, where your opponent just opens or whatever? You can't let your guard down, because then that's when you kind of give it right back.
Well, if you lose your focus on yourself, obviously, then you're in big trouble. Yeah, for sure.
Like to have a heart monitor on a few of these guys just to see what the heart rate is. You know, to me, I think that is something the PBA should look at, is giving a player something on their wrist that can gauge heart rate in crucial situations. Wouldn't you want to know the heart rate of Belmonte when he's trying to execute a shot for the win or whatever?
You can almost guarantee there's certain ones who have so much success that there is that.
Right.
But yeah, it would definitely be interesting.
Yeah. You know, the great thing I think that Fox does with their telecast is we get so much information for us bowling nerds. You know, lay down, break point, angle, speed, rev rate, all this stuff that's just great to see. Because one thing I think it shows to us as maybe a little bit more knowledgeable of players or fans is just how many times these guys can hit a target in the same speed and the same rev rate.
Yep.
Because you can throw it with less hand, you can miss at the bottom, you can get over the top of it like you've said before. It's just amazing how just so accurate and consistent these players are.
And it's too bad because you'd love to see like compare Earl to different people or it's Mark Roth compared to just to see how that matches up.
You'd love to have that information back in the 80s.
Oh, we've started there. That's a good start. Take that break all day, right?
You'd love to have that in 8th or 9th frame when you really needed it, though.
Yeah. There's that sharp break on the back end, leaving at 4.610 on lane 4. Lane 3, he was the most lined up during practice. And still is.
Yeah, Ben.
Great shot.
Ben Caldwell, a steady player.
Yeah. No, he's getting that ball down the lane and just ball's making a real smooth move. Not one of those sharp jerks where you don't want to lose count either. But
now here's the key: Jacob Young with the Brooklyn break, right? Can you take advantage of it right here? And this is going to tell you if you're lost or not. And that's exactly what you want to do right there.
Good comeback. A lot of pressure now. A lot of pressure out there.
I would felt, too, if I could get out to a really good start, it does help relax the body and the arm swing.
Yeah.
That was one thing for me at the Senior Masters is I always seemed to get out to a nice little start. And then all of a sudden, you kind of had that league play mentality where you were just locked in, and the arm swing was nice and loose. Another great
beautiful
shot. Boy,
shot.
now Matt Phillips finding himself in a difficult situation here. Both of his opponents have doubled to start the game. Oh, and he goes back-to-back opens.
Well, but this is one thing where we know opens are out there, so, don't quite throw the towel in yet, but, he's got a hole to dig out of.
Austin, it's a one-game match. The top 2 scores will advance, and based on their score, they'll be seeded 31 and 32.
Ball change.
And Brooklyn.
Ball's just breaking way loose, way too early.
I think a little bit of nerves are settling in for Matt, just a little bit, because watched a few of his practice shots, and he looked like he had a nice reaction. But then you start squeezing a little bit more when you see your opponents get out to a good start. But there's a lot of bowling in it. Even though it's only 10 frames and 12 shots, there's a lot of bowling in this.
Yep.
That's
shot there, yeah.
That's the. He just had to see.
Laid off a little bit, just a little smoother at the bottom.
Just wanted to fill a frame there, that's for sure.
Yeah, bottom of the swing, just got through it a little smoother and didn't jump on it. Just let the ball do the work there.
Now Ben looking for the front three. Oh,
Yeah, that was left.
Yeah, and that's the break you need.
Yeah. And when you get out that far, you just got to make sure you don't let them back in.
Boy, you know, Matt's got to be thinking, wait a minute,
Yeah,
that's
I need
3 Brooklyns
I need
I've
those
just
to.
seen.
I
Yeah.
need those to give me a chance to get back in.
Yeah. There's nothing more frustrating too when you're watching. It's like, where's my break? You know, you just got to miss by more, right?
Yeah.
That's how you just didn't miss enough.
And sometimes it happens. Oh,
fast
shot.
8.
Good shot. A little more speed. Gave that one room. Good shot. Just want to fill it. Fill that 10 pin.
Oh, I just don't like, on this type of pattern, I would not want to hook the whole lane at the 4-7. I'm going straight at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just got to know what it's going to do. But yeah, that one just took off.
Well, you just took, in my opinion, you take a spare that's probably a 90% plus conversion rate and made it about less than 50-50 when you're trying to hook on this type of pattern.
Yeah. Another good shot.
Dylan, this is a 3-way tie for 2 spots. So 2 get in, 1 will not, and right now Matt is looking on the outside right here. He's in big trouble.
Yeah, he needs help and he needs to get some strikes here, but so far he's haven't been able to get that pocket too good. But you want to keep working at it. I mean, this is one of those things. This is one of those things where you just got to keep putting everything you've got into it, because you never know that next time you're in that situation how it's going to work out, and you want to make sure you take advantage of it at all times. Learn as much as you can.
Well, that's the tough pill to swallow here in this, because when they're this hard, there is going to be some luck involved.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we've just
We
seen
saw some of that, yeah.
Ben just with this second Brooklyn of this game so far. And it's just, you know, that's why, like you have said before, you don't watch your opponent.
But see, it's fast. This is a fast-paced game. I mean, this, you know, they're up and you barely have time to sit down. So it's a quickly paced game. It's easy for it to get away from you if you don't make sure you're getting yourself set.
Well, you're watching the 2 guys that came in struggling. You know, Ben.
Nice shot there.
Ben shoots 157. Jacob Young shoots 138 to backdoor their way in. And you would, based on how you're watching, you thought these guys are comfortably in when you're looking at their scores. Ben going at a 240 pace. Jacob going at 240, 250 pace right now.
That's a tough spare.
Yeah, the 3, 6, 9, 10. Never one you want to shoot at. Good cover there from Ben. He misses all of them. Boy, that is a killer. You got to get pins there.
Yeah, that's just one of those that got away from you, you know, mentally, and just didn't. You weren't confident with what you're doing.
And Matt
not able to.
He just can't get anything going.
Nah, not able to get any. That was a big one there to help get him back. He would have picked up a lot of pins on that one if he'd been able to get that double. Now he's got a split conversion left out there.
Yeah, a little frustrated with the start, I'm sure, and you see your opponents get some good
Yeah.
breaks, and you're not. And as Ben almost throws another Brooklyn. Here's the thing, folks. This condition is extremely tough. And when your tournament leader,
nice pair.
Your tournament leader was only 220 average. That's
for 3 games.
Yeah.
Not for a long haul. Yeah, 3 games. Yep.
That's telling you something. There's a lot of guys yesterday in qualifying would shoot 240 and then just held on for dear life.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know, shoot 180, 170, and
Yep.
they sneak in by, oh my goodness.
Well, nothing hurt yet on that one. It's a surprise because he's not playing anywhere near that. Oh.
Well, and Matt's misses just aren't enough.
No, and he can't break anything down.
Jacob Young was trying to let him back in it here.
He really was. I mean, that would have, like I said, that would have really caught up some pins.
Here's the thing. If Matt can make this spare, he could still claw his way to a 180 game. That
Beautiful shot.
That could, I mean.
Oh no.
Based on.
I wouldn't want to have to throw a mark out there to move on.
Yeah, based on Jacob Young's last 2 frames, I mean, he's got 13 pins in 2 frames. I'm almost, you know, if I'm Ben, I'm almost throwing hard and straight right now just to see if I can get 8 or 9. And there's a strike.
Good comeback there. That was a big one. That really gives you takes a lot of heat off going into the 10th.
Well, this is.
Not all the pressure, though.
Yeah, this is the tournament coming up here for Matt. Good spare.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, Matt's going to need this setup here in the 9th. Wow, what a shot.
Great
Good
pitch
shot.
there.
Yep. Well, that definitely makes you think now, because if you're his opponent,
that makes Jacob Young realize, you know what, I have to do
what I
something
did.
here.
Yeah, I can't do what I did a couple frames ago here. Because Matt's picked up a couple of tough ones.
And Ben with the 7 count, and now Jacob first frame, or 10th frame here. First shot. Oh, that'll lock it in.
Yep.
Boy,
good shot. Good shot.
You watch him throw those last 2, and you're thinking.
Made no sense, did it? I mean, the whole game was all over the place. Yeah. But it's all about the total pins.
Absolutely. Well, you see those last 2, and they were just dead flush, and you're trying to figure out, you know, what happened. See if I can get Craig's attention here. All right, I have to, Craig Lamont here in the booth, advancing here into match play, but I have to ask you a question. Somebody wanted us to ask you about your dress pants yesterday.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a wreck. I wasn't aware. I guess there wasn't a dress code. I bowled in this the last 2 years, and I left home and wasn't paying any attention and didn't have any dress slack. So, unfortunately, I didn't have any when I arrived here. And my wife noticed that everybody but me had on, dress slack. So, yeah, she was able to run over here to Kohl's and grab me a pair of slacks about 10 or 15 minutes before we went. They were a little baggy, but hey, they worked. So it got me through the first round and then on to today.
Well, I see you, just kind of stay tough, 2-teen, 190. What are these lanes playing like? And they look extremely difficult.
They are. I'm playing outside, what feels outside to me, in between the first and second arrow somewhere, just pointing it at the head pin early, just trying not to give away the pocket. A lot of guys look like they're able to get inside the first game or so and have a little shape. I haven't been inside yet. I may actually throw a few balls inside here the practice round and see if we can't create a little shape. And we may have to shoot 220, 230 starting off. But again, if it doesn't look like it's there, I'm going to go right. I'm not going to give away the pocket, and I'm going to make my spares. So.
Well, I know mindset, changes here from qualifying to head-to-head matches. what's your strategy, and how do you take that challenge when you go from just trying to post a score to beating playing your man one-on-one here?
Well, you look, watch your opponent a little bit. I try to stay in a mental frame of just worry about me, but you also are just bowling one guy. So instead of just making shots, if he's struggling a little bit, and again, we're just going to keep it around the pocket. If he looks like he's got 2, 3 in a row, maybe 4 in a row, I may have to make a move. Then I'll probably, hopefully the shot holds up for me on the outside. I won't have an issue, But yeah, you just never know when it comes to match play. If you find somebody hot, shoots 230, and I'm at 2-0, so be it. But yeah.
Well, I got one question. Last question. Your dad made a really deep run here and came up just short last year against TJ, I believe, wasn't it? And do you have any pressure now that your dad?
No, I'm here to win today. So that's the goal.
All right. Good luck, Craig. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Craig Lamond, everyone. His dad, Paul, almost won this but lost in the championship match, and wanted to figure out, too. We had to find out the story on the pants.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Well, that'll wrap up our semifinal round, and Ben Caldwell and Jacob Young advance into the step ladder or the match play portion. And they're going to run the lanes. We'll have a little bit of a break. We'll come back when practice will start. And, again, we appreciate you watching. I want to thank our sponsors here, the Brands of Brunswick, RT Tour Experience, Mike Aulby's Arrowhead Bowl, A1 Automotive, Tim Mack's Victory Lane Pro Shop, Pinheads Entertainment, and Big 4 Socks. We hope you are enjoying the broadcast here of the Indiana Masters from Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana. We'll be back with top 32 double elimination single game matches when we're here next here on Savage Bowling TV.